There we are. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Now, this week, as we've all seen, we're all a little bit of a mess because we're doing edible Play-Doh. Has anybody eaten the Play-Doh yet? Yes, you already have. Well, ours is still making the Play-Doh. So we started off with powdered milk and icing sugar, and now we put peanut butter in. And as my mom told me, did you remember, Mom, that you spray the cup with olive oil so that the peanut butter comes out easily? And I sprayed my spoon too so that the peanut butter would wipe right off the spoon. It wouldn't get too sticky. But now we're about to do the golden syrup. And James is already holding my cup. There's our cup of the golden syrup. Oh, we have a brand new bottle that isn't ready to pour yet.
Can I lick that?
Now, I have... Oh, sorry, Blakey. I heard your question a little too late. We have... Now, I've posted a link with recipes for edible Play-Doh along with this story. Hold it tight. It's going to get heavy. Blakey, do you want to squeeze? Blakey, do you want to squeeze? There we go. We need a whole cup of this thing. Now,
Stand up.
while we're squeezing out some golden syrup, I was going to talk to you guys about, you know how we usually have our story time about David and Saul, and they were Israelites, kind of like you guys are Americans and we're Australians. Yeah, that's why I asked you to do it. They were Israelites. Well, once upon a time, did you know they were called Israelites because there was a man called Israel, and he had a whole bunch of kids, 12 sons. He had 12 sons, and they had sons, and they had sons, and they had sons, and they all became the children of Israel and Israelites. That's how they got their name, because once upon a time there was a man called Israel.
It's like I'm writing words and I do it.
It does? Yeah, it makes a little pattern on that. But they live, now who knows where the Israelites live?
Yeah.
Sorry? Canaan? Well, over there in Canaan, yeah, over that way. They all live over in a country called Israel. But about 600 years before David and King Saul were around, 700, give or take a couple of centuries.
My fingers hurt so much.
Sorry, Blakey, you want me to have a go?
Yeah.
And that's a long time. Can you imagine how long 600, 700 years would be?
Okay, Mom.
Isn't that a long time? No, we're not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a long time before King David and King Saul. That's when Israel lived, the man named Israel. He had a son. Now, you might have heard about him. His name is Joseph. Oh, does that look cool?
Yeah. I like it.
We're getting our syrup. Our syrup is going into our Play-Doh. Now, he was called Israel, and all of his 12 sons. One of his sons lived in Egypt, and there was a famine. Now, who knows what a famine is? Sorry, what was that, Peter? What did you say? No food. That's right. A famine is no food. There was no food, but Egypt had food. And because Israel's son, Joseph, was living in Egypt, and he was really good friends with the king, whose name, they call them pharaohs. They don't call them kings. They call them pharaohs. They were really good friends with Pharaoh. So Israel moved all his other 11 sons down to Egypt to live. So they all moved down there. Now, hang on. We're going to get rid of our cup. Like, can you go put that in the sink, please? They all moved down to Egypt where there was food. Now, with 12 sons, they all get married and have sons. All right, you two, take your spoons. Mix up for a while. All the 12 sons, they got married and they had sons, which there's a lot more. There was 70 of them when they moved to Egypt.
What?
And can you imagine, at 300 years, they went from 70 people to 1 million people. That's big, isn't it? But when you have 12 sons, and they start having sons, and they start having sons, they get big, don't they? The family gets really, really big. Yeah, the family gets big. Well, Joseph died, and of course, all the dad died, Israel, and people kept having kids, and the family kept getting bigger and bigger until one day, the Pharaoh of Egypt, it was a new Pharaoh, the new Pharaoh of Egypt. He didn't know Joseph, and he's looking at this family of Israel and going, look how big they are. They're huge. What if our enemies come? Our enemies might come, and then Israel, okay, careful how you do that. We don't want to fling it all over the computer, please. Do you guys want to swap to your fingers now?
No, they do.
Not yet? Oh, yes. You are supposed to swap to your fingers at some point, you know.
I don't really want to.
Don't really want to.
Gloves on them.
Okay, yes. Yes, Matthew.
Who the Pharaoh was Ramses II.
It might have been, yes. They're not entirely sure because the Bible doesn't actually tell us his name. So some people guess that it might have been Ramses II, but we're not sure. Anyway, there was, careful Blakey, please. There was a new Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph. And he looked at this great, great big family. By then, there was probably a couple thousand of them. And they looked at this great big family and said, they're too big. One day, they might take over Egypt because they're stronger than us. So he had a brilliant plan. He was going to make them all slaves. Now, who knows what a slave is?
No.
Yes, what's a slave?
Oh, I. Who is now being worked.
Yes. So, no pay. That's right. Someone that has to work for no pay, and they're owned a little bit like you'd own a dog. You could own a person and make them do anything you want them to do. They can even beat them. Sometimes they would beat them. No, they were not nice. They didn't get paid. They made them work. So they made the Israelites into slaves. And the Israelites made 2 big cities. Now, a bit like how we're mixing our Play-Doh, the Israelites used to have to make big bricks. They'd take clay and straw and water, and they'd mix them all up until...
I remember the Great Wall of China has rice in its bricks.
Okay.
That's why it's so strong.
Yeah, well, in Egypt, they used straw. They would use straw in the bricks. They'd mix them all up, but they usually used their feet because they were great big picks. And they'd stomp around in the mud and the straw and the water with their feet. And then they'd scoop them out into great big wooden molds. And they'd make huge bricks.
Mommy.
You guys can move to your fingers now.
Oh, look, I got some on my finger.
All right. Now, move to your fingers and stop playing because you're going to make like bricks and stuff. Do you guys want to make some bricks? Does anybody want to try and make me a little pyramid? Oh, look at that. It's a smiley face. It looks cool. That looks cool. Let's see if anybody can make me a pyramid because that's the stuff. Oh, you do have a pyramid. Good job, Matthew. You do have a pyramid. We're still mixing our bricks. We haven't quite got to the building stage. Not yet. We're still mixing bricks. Is that funny?
You squish it and it gets like a fun stuff.
You guys having fun?
Yeah.
And I have fingers in my face.
Yeah. Do you know why I chose this story? Why don't we get the spoons out? Oh, there's a beautiful brick, TT. Great job. Do you guys want to just take the spoon out and put it in the like you take the stuff off the spoon? Use it with your fingers. Use your fingers, please. Take the stuff off the spoon.
I want to get dirty fingers.
That's the story of this. So hold the play with your fingers, kiddo. Now, I chose this story because it was my favorite. There is a brick. Awesome, guys. There's another brick. Well, this was my favorite story from when I was a little girl. We played with Play-Doh and learned about Moses. Well, so can you take the spoons and put them in the sink, please?
I know, understand.
Why?
Oh, that comes.
Ah, that's a sphinx. It is. That's right. And the Israelites had to make sphinx and pyramids and bricks. And they made the Pharaoh of Egypt 2 big treasure cities. Now, that sounds kind of nice, except for the fact that the Israelites didn't get to keep any of the treasure. So it wasn't nice. And they started to pray to God, please send somebody to deliver us, to get us out of here, because we don't want to be slaves. So they prayed and they prayed. Do you know how long they prayed for? 300 years.
What the?
They prayed for 300 years and nobody came. Now, I bet you think between now and Christmas is going to take forever. I know there's someone over here that thinks Christmas is taking forever to get here.
The stuff is delicious.
It's good? Oh, that's good. Apparently it tastes good, guys.
I licked it off the spoon.
It licks it off the spoon. Uh-huh. It tastes good. Well, they built 2 big treasure cities and still no one came to save them. And still, but God was blessing the Israelites. Even though they were working hard, they got bigger and bigger. And Pharaoh went, my evil plan is not working. These people are still bigger than us. They're still stronger than us.
There's a brick.
We need a new plan.
There's a brick.
There's a brick. Lovely. Thank you. Yes, Matthew. What's his new plan? Close. Close. You'll hear. His
I know.
first brilliant plan was to work them harder.
I bet.
I know.
Well, obviously,
I
if
know.
they're still getting, hang on, Blake, we're not finished yet. We'll get there. Obviously, if they're getting bigger, I'm not working them hard enough. So he made them work with rigor, the Bible says, which means that they had to do more work and they would beat them and beat them. And Israel started praying even more that God would deliver them. And instead of delivering them, God just blessed them and made them bigger and stronger. And what do you think Pharaoh said? Evil plan is not working.
I know what you want to do.
Not yet. Not yet.
Uh,
But he had a new plan. Almost. His new plan was he was going to tell the midwives. Now, who knows what a midwife is first? Oh, that looks really great, Peter. Yes. Yes, TT. Not gives birth, but helps the mother give birth. Yes, the midwife.
dang.
That's it. Don't eat all the Play-Doh, otherwise we won't have anything to play with.
I'm no more eating it.
The midwife helps the mother give birth to the baby. And do you know what he told the midwife to do, Blakey? Hang on.
To kill all the boys. And
That's right.
only let the girls live.
All right. Blake did say it, but I think you guys might have been talking. So he told the midwives that if a boy was born, they had to kill it. That means all of you guys. But a girl would allow to live. Now, I'd be really, really, really sad. But the midwives, when they heard that plan, they went, God's not going to like this plan. I can't do this. So the midwives did not obey Pharaoh. They didn't kill the boys. And after a while, Pharaoh went, third evil plan, not working. They're still getting bigger and stronger than us. So he had a new evil plan. He told everyone, not just the midwives. He called all of his people. And he said, if you see a baby boy, a Hebrew, that's what they called them, a Hebrew baby boy, kill them.
Your hands.
And this was a pretty scary time, don't you think? A lot of mums must have been pretty scared. They're worried about their baby. What if it's a little boy? What if somebody takes him? Well, before this happened, there was a man who got married. And their first baby was a girl. Phew, it was a girl. Their second baby, that they called her Miriam. Their second baby was a boy. Now, this was probably about the time when Pharaoh told the midwives that they ought to kill the boys, and they weren't. So Aaron got to live because the midwives weren't killing the boys. Aaron got to live. But then Pharaoh told everybody, anybody, not just the midwives, anybody to kill a baby boy when they saw it. And the mum, Jochebed was her name, she had another baby boy. Now, we don't actually know what he was called when he was born. Yes, Matthew, you want to say something? Okay. They had another baby boy. And this time, yes, because anybody could kill the baby boy, what do you think Jochebed needed to do?
Hide it.
Hide it. Yes, Matthew. Hide it. You say hide it. Well, tell me, how do you think it is hiding a baby? What do babies do? Wah, wah. cry all the time, don't they? They cry and they cry. But for 3 months, Jochebed managed to hide her little baby boy. But then he got too big and he got too loud, and she knew he was going to get killed one day. So she made a basket. Now, can you guys make a little basket? She took some rushes. Now, while you guys are building, I see you guys got the chocolate one. Is that chocolate frosting, is it?
Yes.
So chocolate frosting and icing sugar, is it? Chocolate frosting and icing sugar. We have peanut butter Play-Doh. Yeah. The chocolate frosting looks like it turned out really well. I tried one with whipped cream, and I will show you. I tried the whipped cream recipe, and it's now rock hard, and it just breaks into pieces. It doesn't really play. Well, you're going to eat it anyway. But it was made with corn flour, and that's all you can taste is flour. It's not very nice, but that's a lovely basket. Great job.
Yeah, I got it.
Now, I need you to make a basket that looks kind of like a bowl.
My basket, you hit me.
I need you to make a basket that looks kind of like a bowl. You see my hands? I need you to make a basket a little bit like a bowl.
That's tasty.
Is it tasty? That's good.
It's mine too. Flowery though.
So, Jochebed, she built a basket out of straw, and she built it like a bit like a bowl, and she also made a little lid to go on top because she didn't want anything to get her little baby, did she? Lovely. Good job. So we need a basket a bit like a bowl, and then we need a lid on top. So hang on, let me see. I'm going to get in here, and I'm going to make myself a basket. I need a little baby. Can someone make me a little baby?
I can't.
You can't?
I'm just making fun.
Can you make a little baby? Oh, that's a good idea. Use a different color for the little baby. Blakey, can you see if any of that will make a little baby? See if it'll break off and just make a, or do you want to finish making my basket here and I'll make the baby?
I'm gonna do this.
You want to do that? All right. He wants to try and make me a little baby. So we have a basket. Lovely basket. Nice.
Here's the baby.
And the little baby too. I was trying to see if that might have been a little baby. Oh, it's very cute. A little baby. Oh, lovely. Oh, I can see the eyes for the baby. That's cute. And a lid on top. Yeah, it works pretty good. That's pretty good. It can be a little bit hard and a little bit tricky, but Jochebed, she made a basket of bulrushes. And then she lined it inside with slime and pitch.
I can't picture.
That's a lovely little baby with a smiley face. Alrighty. So she put him in the basket. Now, can you make me a lid, please? She lined the basket with slime and pitch. Now, who knows why she would line it with slime and pitch?
Anyway.
So it covers up the hole, and also because she was going to put it in the water. And in the Nile. That's right. She was going to put it in the Nile because that is actually what the Pharaoh said. He said, any baby boy that's born, any Hebrew baby boy that's born has to get thrown into the Nile River. So Jochebed was kind of obeying. She was putting him in the river, but she put him in a basket first.
Yeah, he didn't say that they had to be in the basket.
Yeah, he didn't say that you had to throw them in. You can't put them in a basket. So she put it in a basket, lined it with slime and pitch. Lovely, Peter. That's a great basket with a good baby. Lined it with slime and pitch so that it wouldn't sink. She wanted to make sure it wouldn't sink. And then she put a lid on top of it to make sure no birds would fly off with their baby. And then she left Miriam, her first little girl. She left Miriam, who was about 7 or 8 about this time. She left Miriam to watch the baby boy to see what would happen. Don't you think that would have been a bit scary for poor Miriam, wondering, is there a crocodile, or you guys would call it an alligator? Is there a crocodile going to come out and going to eat my little baby brother? What's going to happen to what if Mum didn't do a good job? What if the basket sinks? What's going to happen to our little baby brother?
Blakey got played on.
Now, we don't know what they called him because his name wasn't Moses then.
It's still on the ground.
But they, oh, well, maybe put it over here somewhere instead of. There we go. We don't know what they called him. She worried. I bet she was really worried. What do you think the baby might have been doing in the basket? Probably just crying. So we kind of need to turn your lovely little smile, Blakey,
Upside down.
upside down.
Don't remember his head. Don't remember it.
I'm not removing his head, but there's his little smile. It's turned upside down to a frown. It was crying. Now, where's my lid? Did you just squish the rest of my lid?
You put some in there.
Yeah, part of it, because this one doesn't. Anyway, there it was. But somebody heard the little baby crying. Now, who knows who heard the little baby crying?
That's the Pharaoh's daughter.
The Pharaoh's daughter. That's right. The princess of Egypt. She heard the baby crying and she saw the basket. She sent her maid to go and find it. She go get that. So her maid went to go get it. But do you know why they were down at the water first? She was having a bath. That's right. Do you know people still do that? They go to the river to have a bath. And that's what they used to do in Egypt. They'd go to the river to have a bath. And I think in India, they still do that. That's a special thing they do. They go and have a bath in the river. That seems a bit odd, doesn't it? To us.
Oh, do you know why?
Why do they have a bath in the river?
Because all the water that's for showers
Isn't good for you. Well, sometimes they also have it for it's like a religion. You know how we go to church? They think it's something special to have a bath in the river, and that's part of their religion. They have a bath in the river. But anyway, the princess of Egypt, Pharaoh's daughter, was going to the river to have a bath because back then they didn't really have showers and stuff like that like we do. So they tended to have baths in the river. And she saw the little basket, probably heard the baby crying. When the little maid went to go and get it, the princess opened it up, and the Bible says the baby was crying. And the princess, the princess felt bad, but she also knew it was a Hebrew boy. So she knew she was supposed to throw it back in the river. Said she looked at it and said, I know it's a little Hebrew boy. She knew she was supposed to throw it back in the river, but she didn't. She decided she was going to keep it. She was going, oh, that's lovely. Great job. She decided she was going to keep the little baby boy. But Miriam saw all this. She was watching. And Miriam came running up and said, Princess, do you want me to fetch someone to give the baby, to nurse the baby? Because what do babies eat? Do they eat food?
No.
No, they have milk from their mum. And she says, do you want me to go find a Hebrew mum to nurse the baby? And the princess said, yes. So who do you think Miriam went to get?
Becky.
She go get the neighbor? She went and got her mum. She went and got her own mum. So Jochebed got her baby back. And the Bible said that the princess of Egypt said, I will pay you to keep the baby and to nurse him until it's time for me to have him back when he's grown up. So that was pretty nice, wasn't it? Jochebed, she trusted God. She put her baby in the river and she trusted God to keep him safe. And then she ended up getting paid to keep her little baby boy. Now, Pharaoh's daughter is the one that called him Moses because Moses means drawn from the water. So we don't know what Moses' name was before then. The Bible doesn't say. But we know that Pharaoh's daughter called him Moses. And that's what his name became. That's a big chunk of peanut butter, guys. It is. Yes, Matthew. You made a heart? Oh, that's lovely. That's very nice. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, nothing.
Okay. Not too hard, please. And Peter's heart. That's nice, Peter. Now, do we know what happened to Moses? Who did he become?
Grow up.
He grew up and did what?
Became 110, 900 something years old.
Hang on. Sorry. Titi was talking.
Grow up.
Blake started talking and I couldn't hear you. What was that?
He became a prince.
He did become a prince, but he decided he didn't want to be a prince.
Okay.
He didn't actually want to be a prince. Do you remember when Israel was being worked really, really hard? What did they pray for?
Oh, yeah,
Someone to
someone to help them, someone to come and deliver them, make them so that they could leave Egypt. For 300 years they prayed. You remember that? 300 years they'd been praying. James, listen, please. For 300 years they prayed for someone to come, and God sent a little baby, Moses. But Moses grew up. He became a prince of Egypt. Then he had to leave Egypt for a while because he killed somebody. That was not a good plan.
No, I want to see
He had
the
to-
little baby.
There's the little baby.
Is the idiot Pharaoh?
That's an idiot Pharaoh. Well, yes, in the end he didn't. Yes, Matthew.
And then after that, he tried the farm, and then later on, he speaks to God.
He does speak to God. That's right. He spoke to God in a burning bush that didn't burn. That was a bit weird, wasn't it? He saw a burning bush that didn't burn. So Moses went to find out what it was. And God told him, go back to Egypt because you're going to deliver my people. You're going to free them from being slaves. And they're all going to go back up to the land where King Saul and King David. That's how King Saul and King David got there. Because Moses helped rescue the people from Egypt. And that's what they prayed. The people prayed and prayed for God to send somebody. And God sent a little baby Moses. And one day Moses grew up and helped to save everybody. Now this one, I did this story because it was my favorite story. Grandma taught it to me. She's right back there. Hi, Grandma. Grandma taught it to me with peanut butter Play-Doh. Yes, Matthew.
I know exactly what happened and how Moses did it. He had to do the 10 plagues.
It was the 10 plagues, but I think today's lesson is long enough, and I don't think we're going to do the 10 plagues today.
Stop it, kid.
Because it might get really long if we try to do the 10 plagues.
Yeah. I'm gonna do what about this?
It might get really long.
I'm gonna make the snowman.
You can make a snowman head. Yeah, you can make what you like now. And you can eat some of it too. Hmm? You make it a Beyblade. I don't know that it's going to spin too well. No, it'll spin very well. Now, I need to clean my hands.
Let's eat eggs.
Like
In
you
my
ate. I said
Beyblade.
you could play. I think you could eat some now. I just didn't want you eating it all before you finished that story. It's a lovely heart. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the story today, and I hope you enjoyed playing with Play-Doh. Yeah. Hope you could hear me okay, because it all got pretty exciting with lots of Play-Doh, didn't it?
I can taste that syrupy.
Yes.
What?
Hang on.
Solomon, David's son.
Oh, David's son Solomon. We might talk about him. Do you want to talk about Solomon, do you?
Yeah, because I already know a lot about how he made the first temple.
He did make the first temple, yes. Now, I don't know if we're going to talk about Solomon for a little while, but I'll keep it in the plans. I had some other things I wanted to talk about first because we were going to have one more lesson with David, and then we're going to leave it from there. But I'll put it in there that you want to have a story about Solomon because I had something else to talk about first, like today's lesson. I wanted to do today's lesson with peanut butter Play-Doh, but we thought we'd do it when Grandma was there. It was fun having Grandma during our lesson, wasn't it?
Tempo.
Temple, good job.
Ah,
Whoops.
What's
Yes,
tempo?
Matthew.
I think
Anyway.
I learned about
Sure,
it
Plum.
like last week. I learned about Israel like last week in school.
Oh, did you? Nice. Yeah.
What all the things happened. Like it's how the first person to discover Israel was Abraham.
Yes, that's right. He did. He went there, and that was Israel. Abraham was Israel's grandfather. I think that's right. Yes, his grandfather. It was his grandfather because Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac had Esau and Jacob, and Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So Abraham was Israel's grandfather. But they moved from Israel. They moved down to Egypt, and they got stuck there for 300 years until Moses came along. Did Moses? Well, God's the one that saved them, but he used Moses. But yes.
Yeah, and by crossing the Red Sea.
Yes, they went back. They
the
did.
second name of Sinai, and the bears turned back.
Yes. Well, Mount Sinai, I believe that's where he saw the burning bush too.
Daisy.
I think that's where Moses saw the burning bush. Is it?
I don't know. I only know this that he got it.
Yes, I know he got the commandments from Mount Sinai. I think that might have been where he saw the burning bush, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up.
No, he got from the cave.
Hello.
He did it.
Yes, it. Hello, look at that. Yeah, I think there might have been a cave there, but it was up on a mountain. He was up on a mountain when he saw the burning bush. Yes.
I was thinking.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end our recording. So we're going to say goodbye to the people that might be watching us live. Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the story of Moses. And if you look up recipes, you can play with peanut butter Play-Doh or frosting Play-Doh. The whipped cream Play-Doh didn't turn out too well, so maybe don't try that recipe. No, they used chocolate frosting to make brown Play-Doh. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's story. Bye.
I need a volcano.